Welcome to the Holy Shhh Podcast, AEW Dynamite post-show special edition. Winter is coming. It came, it saw, and it conquered. Hell of a show tonight, so we had to bring on extra guests. Of course, it's your boy ABE from DET. I got my right-hand man.
I am that ball bro from the Boogie Down.
Y'all know who he is. And we got two special guests in the building. Shout out Vance Apollo. Tell the people about yourself, brother.
Hi everyone, I am Vance Apollo, a cosplayer alongside a wrestling fan, AEW, WWE, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Stardom, all of that. But my main thing is cosplay and anime on TikTok at Vance Apollo, on TikTok, all wherever else you can find me.
For sure, check them out. Light skin Gaijin in the building. Tell the people about yourself, brother.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Gaijin Temple. I am the light skin Gaijin, Denard Ramon. You can find me all over social media at Light Skin Gaijin. Very avid professional wrestling fan. Everything from WWE, back when it was known as WWF, WCW, ECW. But of course, the main promotions that I really talk about, New Japan, and of course, World Wonder Ring, Stardom, and anything Joshi from Tokyo Joshi Pro, Marty Gold, DDT Pro, which pretty much covers everything from male and female, Diana, Seedling, just a slew of professional wrestling. You name it, I've probably watched it.
Man, we got some real live, bona fide, top-notch pro wrestling fans in the building. Some of the stuff they was naming, I know a lot of y'all just WWE fans. Just know they know they stuff. All right, but let's get into AEW Dynamite tonight. Starts off with Orange Cassidy and Jay White versus Pac and Jon Moxley. Ends in a DQ as Hangman Page comes down and attacks Mox. Then Team AEW crumbled right before our eyes. Cassidy hit Hangman. Hangman hit Switchblade. They was all laid out. Let the Death Riders come through and pick the carcasses of Team AEW. But this sets up later on after the commercial break. Moxley says it's going to be a fatal four-way at World's End. Cassidy, Switchblade, Hangman for the world title. Bro. No, let's let the guests go first. Gaijin, your thoughts on the intro of AEW?
Well, I was actually just getting home when this match was happening. However, from the way you described it, I like how Moxley is the one who throws out the challenge in this one. Basically, he said it from the very beginning when he had that interview with Tony Schiavone not too long ago, where he basically said, this isn't your company anymore. And he's basically taking the initiative to take AEW and cut the rug from out underneath them to basically mold AEW into his vision of what he wants it to be. So I do find it interesting that Moxley is the one that threw out this challenge. And as it should be, the three challengers, they should be, vibing for who wants to be the AEW world champion, because there can only be one. It's like the Highlander. It can only be one.
It can only be one.
So, of course, Orange Cassidy, Jay White, and Hangman Page, they all want to be AEW World Champion. Who doesn't? So, as far as I'm concerned, Moxley's just enjoying the chaos. And eventually, I think at World's End, he's going to come in and, sneak away with his championship when everybody least suspects it.
Yeah, if they can't even keep it together now, just imagine how that match gonna be. But your thoughts on the open, Vance?
I don't know if anyone else knows this, but I am a giant Jon Moxley fan. And
thank you.
And I'm at that point where I can't see him doing much of anything wrong. And with this Death Riders storyline, I absolutely love it. I especially love it that it is his own thing. It's not something that Tony Khan or another writer did for them. It's Tony Khan saying, yeah, you can do this, you can't do this. When it came to the ending, I was a little bit disappointed because I'm not the biggest fan of like those DQ endings in matches. I'd rather see a clean type of, whether it be a cheetah ending or just a regular pinfall and then somebody comes in and attacks than just it going into a DQ. but I understood the story behind it all. I understood that everybody wants the AEW championship, which is making that championship way more prestigious than it already is. And I like that all the parties involved actually get an equal shot at John Moxley's championship. And like how Light Skin Gouging said, John Moxley is just sitting back enjoying the chaos while everybody is ripping each other to shreds.
Loving it, man. I really love how you gave Moxley his prop. Everybody seems to come on this show and just run him through the ringer. So I'm glad I'm not
Look,
the only Moxley fan.
look, I stuck with Moxley when he was Dean Ambrose doing the gas mask stuff in WWE. I was still behind him on all of that stuff. So I was just like, man, it's tough to see him go through it.
Right.
But that's my guy.
Hey, ride or die. Bro, your thoughts on the intro of Dynamite Winter is coming.
I hear what Apollo's saying about like not liking disqualification finishes. I mean, I think it's more so with AEW. It's kind of a rarity with this promotion that we get like great 20-minute match just for it to end in a disqualification. But looking at the parties involved and looking that it was Hangman, the one that got the match DQ'd, that got it thrown out. I mean, it's Hangman Page. He's falling further and further down that well of madness, and this match is just gonna take him just deeper into the pool, than he's ever been before. So I don't mind it from that standpoint. And then I love how like when this whole Death Riders story started out, like a lot of people were complaining that the Death Riders, they were going after like the C and D level squad, like the guys who be in catering and everything but that's how any great faction, when they're taking over, they start with the small fries down here. They start with the pawns. Like if this is chess, they started with the pawns. Now they're up to the rooks, the knights, the kings, the queens. You move on up the food chain, and you can't get more at the top of the food chain than Jay White, Cassidy, and Hangman. I mean, and listen, like we talked about, this is the perfect way to end the year, like a fatal 4-way between these guys. I want all the chaos in the match. I want all the madness in the match. And then let's not forget, we got Christian Cage lurking in the background with that contract. And I've told you this before, like how just fantasy booking, like just the ending of it, like Light Skin alluded to, Mox is gonna find a way to sneak away, I think, with the victory. But I think Christian Cage will be lurking, and we're all gonna think he's gonna cash in that contract. And then right at the last second, we hear that music, we hear that first rip. You think you know him. And Mr. Copeland comes back and stops Christian from cashing in, right leading up to that fight for the Fallen, that very first AEW show that simulcasts on TBS and on Max. I mean, you can't set up that first show any better in my opinion.
I don't know. You're reaching for Copeland, but we'll see if it happens. We will see. But
Bro, I like how you pointed out how the Death Riders were basically going after like the C group, because remember back in the day, the NWO, who were they all going after? Remember, it was Kevin Nash who threw Rey Mysterio into the back of a trailer like a lawn dart.
Facts.
Was Rey Mysterio top tier in WCW? No. Matter of fact, I think they also beat up like Marcus Bagwell and a couple other people too.
Disco Inferno.
Yeah.
Shout out Disco Inferno.
But I was gonna say, I remember people absolutely hating the Death Riders for going after the small people, and now it's like they're going after the bigger people and leaving the smaller pawns to do whatever they do, like leaving the outrunners alone, leaving A, B, and C alone. And it's just like they don't care about those people. But it's just like the biggest complaint you will see when it comes to the Death Riders is, if this is supposed to be a takeover, why aren't they attacking everyone? If they attack every single person, it's gonna get stale after a while. At some point, you're just expecting a combination of Pac, Claudio, Marina, Moxley, or Wheeler to come out and attack the Outrunners because they're on AEW. That, like, I don't need that. I don't need them to attack every single match. I don't need Marina Shafir to come in at Mariah May and Mina Shirakawa after the match because, oh, this is a takeover, we're taking over. No, just take over. Just make sure you make a statement out of it all. That's
Right.
what they're doing.
Yeah.
Definitely. That is what they were doing. They're making noise. This is some of Moxley's best work. Cannot wait to see what comes out of all of this. But a special shout out to JGB734 on Instagram, also on TikTok, Wiccan, Marcus Freeman, Jimmy, the L Catalog, Main Event E, and Sammy Bordeaux. But next up, Christian Cage is in there, and he has a problem with the 4 men in the championship match. Then, oh man, 1 second. Technical difficulties here. We live, people. This is what
Sorry,
happened when you don't shut off your notifications and block everything you're trying to say. Let's shut this down. Bada boom. Boom, there you go. Then out of nowhere comes Hook, who kicks the hell out of Christian Cage as he's up in the suite. They get to fighting backstage, leading that feud into more of a heavier direction. Vance, your thoughts on Christian Cage, this segment, and his intertwinement with Hook right now?
So with Christian Cage, whenever he gets the opportunity to get a mic in his hands in promos, he reminds you why he is the menace of AEW at this point. Well, that that John Moxley comment was low, and people will always say, "Man, that was really low of Christian Cage." And I feel like when people say that, somebody in the back is hearing that, and it's just like, "Go lower, just go lower at this point." Like, because I didn't think that rehab line was gonna ever be said. I thought he was gonna make a dead dad joke again, but he goes after whatever. Hook being involved is incredible. I like how they're showing Hook. I like how they're presenting him. They're not presenting him as this pretty boy anymore. They're showing him as this straight up Bronx, New York gangster now. And I love it. I love how he had the arm cast on, doesn't care, punches straight through the glass and starts ripping into Christian Cage, almost throws him off the balcony. Almost literally throws him off the balcony until it comes to Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne. And I was all over this. I loved the whole thing. I really did. I liked it more for Hook. I liked it a lot for Hook. I liked it a lot for Nick Wayne. I liked it a lot for Christian Cage. I liked it all for the parties involved.
Yeah,
I think I'm sorry, but I think when Hook and Nick Wayne go one-on-one, I think it's like Dynamite 34th Street or Ring of Honor Final Battle, but
I think it's at the Hammerstein Collision, if I'm correct.
yeah, I really want that to be a good match, and I'm gonna try and go, but we'll see.
Yeah, that should be a good one. Gaijin, your thoughts on Christian Cage, Hook, this whole intertwinement with their feud?
What I love about the presentation of Hook is that it's kind of mirroring something similar to what Taz was in ECW, because like Apollo said, he punches through the glass, messed up, arm cast and all that, doesn't really care. He just wants to do everything he can, let the adrenaline build up to get to Christian Cage. And that's kind of like how his dad was. He wasn't the biggest dude. He was, only about 5'8", 5'9", and Hook, he's not the biggest dude either. He's kind of, skinny. A lot of people like you said, Apollo, he was the pretty boy. But now he's coming out, he's found his New York tough guy. He's found that gangster in him, that grimy side of himself. And he's willing to do everything he can to put the fear of God into Christian Cage for being, some sort of D-bag, for bringing up people's, dead relatives, for bringing up, things from the past that people don't really want shared out there, kind of shooting from the hip, so to speak. So, yeah, I love the presentation of Hook right now, and it shows the evolution of Hook,
Definitely
something
does.
that I think a lot of people aren't really seeing.
Definitely does. And he's a homegrown talent. Bro, you thinking the same thing right now?
One thing that for better or for worse, what I'll give Tony Khan credit for is that I think he will try to give a lot of like young talent a chance where in other maybe sort of bigger promotions where they will think twice of you, like like a Hook, like a Wheeler Yuta, like a Kip Sabian, like he takes chances on guys that maybe wouldn't get a chance anywhere else, and that's why I appreciate about them staying the course with Hook. Not like him having maybe a couple of bad maybe feuds or maybe ones that didn't hit the mark. It's like, no, we see something in him. Let's invest everything we can in him and throw him out there and see what happens, man. And I'm not gonna lie, we've talked about the Christian and Hook thing. Like it's been a little iffy for me. I'm not gonna lie, but tonight I think they knocked it out of the park tonight. I mean, just when if you like Apollo said, like just when you forgot who Christian Cage is, man, like that damn menace. Like, bro, I'm watching, and he brings up that sobriety line about Moxley. I'm like, son of a bitch. Like that's how much of a heel is that he can make you feel like sentimental towards Moxley and everyone that he's been unaliving on TV. Like god damn, that's like
It
that's
make it
that's like
make it it
that's
makes you
like
feel for
level
Mox for a bit.
that's like levels of like when MJF brought up CM Punk's UFC career. It's that level of like burn that he brought up right there, like some real life stuff. But listen, I like the brawling. I like the brawling out there, and I think we'll get a good match between Hook and Nick Wayne, which I think will lead to eventual finality of the feud with Christian Cage and Hook locking up in the ring.
Quick question for you, Bob, bro. 2025, does Hook see the TNT title?
I give him a chance, like either that or the international championship. I give him a shot at least to compete for gold. I think he's trending in the right way. Like I think we know he can go in the ring a little bit. He's improved. I think as a personality, get a little more comfortable as a speaker as time goes by. But I'd give it maybe a 30% chance. You know what? He doesn't need there are guys who don't need gold to solidify themselves like as being a success or having significant progress in the company. I don't think Hook's one of those guys right now. He doesn't need a title to like make a statement that yeah, I'm here and I'm a success. We
Right.
need to see more continued development with his character, with his talking abilities. It's everything outside of the ring that he has to work and improve on. Like let's not worry about wins, losses, and championships with him. He's one of those guys where we got to work on the presentation and get that down pat. Like if he does, then he's a success story with or without a title.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you know how it is in this IWC world nowadays, bald bro. If he doesn't have at least some type of title around him, they're gonna call him a failure.
Yep. Yep. That's exactly the way they think.
If it's it, I don't know if it's gonna be the TNT title. I would love to see him make a run at the Continental Championship. I would have loved to see him in this tournament, but it is what it is. But yeah, he can be the most greatly presented person in AEW without a title. Go get over with so many people, but if he doesn't have at least one title run in his career, people are going to put it under the rug as he was a failure, he wasn't a success. So that's
I agree
just
with you 1,000%. Get to a couple comments here. Tony Hayes says Christian Cage is he is great. I can't wait for Christian's WWE Hall of Fame speech. It needs to come. Definitely, definitely. And on TikTok, Delinquent 13 says Hook should be vlogging on social media so fans can get behind him. I don't think that's his gimmick. I think
Nah,
he's the complete opposite.
that would
he's
mess.
not.
I think that would mess with kind of the mystique of Hook.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
not. He's a kid. He's a kid from Long Island. I don't think.
no, he's Red Hook. He's
Red,
from
Red.
Brooklyn.
Man, when it comes to Taz, I never really know. I thought it was Staten Island for a second, and
No, no, Taz is full on Red Hook, Brooklyn. Yeah,
okay, yeah, yeah.
Gotcha.
So the whole vlogging thing, it only works for certain superstars. You saw how good it worked for like the Young Bucks,
Mhm.
and honestly, the Young Bucks were even using it as a tool to help them enhance storylines, not just across Ring of Honor, but also in New Japan and multiple other promotions that they were working in.
Right.
So it works for a guy like Sammy Guevara, somebody who wants you to show the inside world. If Hook starts vlogging, like, I think people will not really believe the whole Hook gimmick or the Hook character, so to speak. So let Hook just be as mysterious as he possibly can. Let him show up. Just let him wreck people. That's all we need him to. That's all we need him to do.
Shout out Chuck Jordan in the comments. He's a new AEW watcher. He says, Chuck's notes, nobody died tonight. That is all. What a hater. One man get a bag on his head and you think the whole company is murderers, man. Get out of here, man.
Crazy.
Get out of here. But next up,
if you think that's bad,
right.
Oh my goodness.
Right. He keep talking about it every week. He come on, a man almost died. A man got his house burnt down.
I grew up like going to ECW shows in the 90s and everything, and I saw some crazy things back in that time. Back when it was the 2300 arena in Philadelphia right now, that was the old ECW arena. I would always go to those. And yeah, putting a bag over a guy's head is very tame to what somebody like New Jack would have done.
Right. Right.
Like, very tame.
Shout out New Jack, R.I.P. One of the greats.
New Jack, man.
Yeah, definitely. But the next match, we got Will Ospreay defeats Claudio, and afterwards, Claudio goes to take out Ospreay with a chair, but to the rescue comes none other than Darby Allin, who chases him away with a bat and salutes his opponent for next week, as we will be seeing Will Ospreay versus Darby Allin, Continental Classic. Ball, bro, your thoughts on that?
I mean, well, first off, like Osprey and Claudio. I mean, we're not surprised by the performance that they put on. I mean, every match so far in the CC has been just knockout after knockout. I mean, I don't think no match has missed yet. But I mean, dude, it's just like it's just insane to see like Claudio's his mid late 40s and doing what he's doing is just ridiculous and insane. And Will Ospreay, I mean, the man never disappoints. I mean, the match went about as it goes. I mean, dude, that gold league, you're gonna have like by the end of the week, you're gonna have maybe 4 or 5 guys in that league all have 6 points. So the next 2 weeks, like it's literally or die. Like that, no one can lose. But bro, the match I've been waiting for once the brackets were set next week, Darby versus Osprey. Like, first off, I was so upset when I found out it was gonna be on Dynamite because, like, I'm going to the Collision show next weekend at Hammerstein. I was hoping and praying that they would save that match for that, but just wasn't meant to be. But dude, I cannot wait for that match because, holy crap! I mean, listen, these two, Darby and Osprey, they might be the 2 best television wrestlers in the world right now. They don't miss. I mean, goddamn, I can just see right now Darby's gonna take that hidden blade and settle like death in that ring, like, or freaking Osprey just might eat the meanest cough drop that we have ever seen in Darby's career, like. I think we've only had one time limit draw so far. This one can go a damn draw. I think I'm calling it right now. This will be the second draw of the CC. I think Darby and Osprey. I don't want to see either one take a pin in that match. I think we're going to get a draw in that matchup.
I'm clipping it right now. Ball Bro is declaring a draw next week. Gaijin, your thoughts on Will Ospreay getting a win over Claudio?
So I know we all saw that promo where Kazuchika Okada said that he is one of the best tournament wrestlers in all of pro wrestling, correct?
Yes,
yep.
So I think Okada also left out that there was another one who he mentored to basically be just that, because we're talking about an individual in Will Ospreay that has won 2 Best of the Super Juniors as well as a New Japan Cup as well. The only tournament that pretty much eluded Will Ospreay during his New Japan career was the G1. And he was in the finals of one, and who happened to put him in his place and let him know that he was the best tournament wrestler ever in pro wrestling? It was Kazuchika Okada, who won, I believe, number 4 at the time when it came for G1s. So I am with you, Bro. I don't want to see either one take a pin, but I think we are heavily leaning towards an Okada versus Ospreay CC finals. The way it is shaping up.
Take my money now. Vance, your thoughts?
When it comes to the finals, I don't even know who we would see because there are so many good factors that you could add in. I mean, you could have Shelton Benjamin versus Ricochet. You could have Will Ospreay versus Okada. You could have somebody from the Death Riders versus. It could be. There's so many ways you could go with this tournament, and that's why I love this C2 tournament. I loved last year's, and I'm loving this year's. Like Ball Bro said, was there a bad match so far? Because
No.
I mean, I can't think of one, but I keep seeing on the IWC, and I know I shouldn't be, but I keep seeing on the IWC, like, yeah, the C2 hasn't been that great. The C2 hasn't been that great. And it's just like, I think at that point, you just don't like AEW, which is fine. It's fine, but be truthful about what you're criticizing. Don't hide that. But I know Ballbro and Lightskin said they don't want to see either of them lose, but this is setting up for, in my personal opinion, I would love to see this. I don't know if it will, but if this is Will Ospreay versus Darby Allin next week, I want to see that brutal side of Will Ospreay that everybody was memeing a couple weeks ago, where he did that one move on, I think, Nick Wayne, at an indie show where he did the hidden blade and he just continually elbowed him in the back of the neck. I kind of want to see that same thing repeated to Darby Allin, not just because he can take that type of punishment, but at the same time, see a side of Ospreay that hasn't been unlocked in a long time, in my opinion. But when it came to this week, I personally loved the match. I mean, it's what you can do in 20 minutes. Like, what can you show us in 20 minutes in a 20-minute time span? And Will Ospreay said, "Hey, I can do this in 15 minutes if you give me 15 minutes." And if they were going to give out individual awards, I think Performance of the Year for the C2 should go to Will Ospreay. And I just want to point out there was a meme that was going around after the match when Ospreay did the Sasuke dive to Claudio outside the ring. Everybody was saying, "Oh man, look at that Sol Ruka dive," and I couldn't help but laugh because I'm just like, no one takes anything seriously like this anymore. Like, I love it. I absolutely love it because it's just like
the disrespect.
Wild.
It's just like, this is Will Ospreay. Like, I think he's like 15 years in this industry now, and people are calling it the Sol Ruka dive. Come on,
disrespect, man. Come
this
on.
volleyball player. But anyway, but no, Will Ospreay is showing why he is one of the best, not only wrestlers in AEW, but best wrestlers in the world through this C2 tournament. And I can't wait for next week, and I can't wait for the other matches that are soon to come with Will Ospreay being in the C2.
Definitely.
So, Paulo, you want the Will Ospreay that basically delivered an Os cutter to a woman who was dating at the time in Bree Priestley?
No, see, I remember that whole thing, and I was just like, "Oh my god, I can't believe he did that." But yes, I was like,
Dude, that's your girl.
Right. I was laughing at that because, like, I remember watching the end of that tournament and being like, "Cool, Ospreay won, hits a heel that won, cool, whatever. Oh my god, Ospreay, you don't need to go that far, but whatever."
Right. Yeah, hell of a segment. Shout out DJ the Stone Juggalo on TikTok. What up though? But next up, we got back and forth interviews with Matt Cardona on his second run back here at AEW with Chris Jericho de Nueve, as they will be fighting soon for the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight title. Vance, your thoughts on Matt Cardona back in AEW going up against the Nueve?
Well, if there is anything I would love for my Christmas list this year, it would be no more Chris Jericho in 2025. But I know I'm
Wow.
not going to get that. I know I'm not going to get that. I know I'm not going to get that. I'm just saying. I think I think it's time for that melted ice cream to go. But
You're done with him, huh?
I've been done with him since last year. I'm sorry. It's like
Right.
at this point, I'm cool on him. But seeing Matt Cardona in AEW, seeing him have this time is really, really good.
Yeah.
He is the self-proclaimed indie god, and he is the self-proclaimed hardcore king. And I mean, they're not going to show all of that, but I mean, it's good to see somebody who is at least well known on the indies get that time on AEW television to promote what is a Ring of Honor show. Like this is to promote Ring of Honor's show and the Hammerstein Ballroom, which fantastic on both ends. I mean, Chris Jericho being the cheesy New York uh teleprompter newscaster guy with the bad apple Brian Keith. Brian Keith and Mike Cardona on Rampage should be good, or is it Collision or Ramp? I forgot, but that should be a
Rampage.
good match. It's good. I'm cool on Chris Jericho, but I did like this segment between those two.
Guys, and your thoughts on it?
So, number one, I love the fact that Tony Khan has actually taken time out to actually promote a Ring of Honor show, especially a show that has some prestige behind it, like Final Battle. If you are a Ring of Honor fan, you know all about those Final Battle shows. The one of my favorites, I think, was probably 2016, the one that they did from Terminal One, um, where they had Jay Lethal and Jay Briscoe main event for the Ring of Honor World Title. I believe it was a fight without honor. That one, of course, was my favorite. Also Ladder War between Kevin Steen and El Generico. That's another one that was one of my favorites. So props to them. Also, number two, I had an opportunity to meet Matt Cardona as he was coming back from Japan because as Ball Bro and Paulo, I work for TSA and I have a chance to work the international checkpoint. They're coming in.
Sweet.
Matt Cardona, one of the nicest guys that I've ever met before coming through the airport. And I'm following his career over the years. I really hope that he does win the Ring of Honor World title because nobody I think deserves better than him. Somebody who has worked his ass off and worked his tail off in every promotion that he has been in. So, as far as I'm concerned, on my Christmas list, I want Matt Cardona to win the Ring of Honor World title because he
Mm.
deserves it.
You definitely did. I liked him going up against Jericho like this. When I seen it, I was like, man, this might be something, man. Take the title off Jericho now. It'd be a good transition, and it feels like the crowd is giving him the babyface treatment. So be perfect fit. Ball, bro, your thoughts?
Yeah, man. Listen, I'm excited for the matchup with Cardona and Jericho, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Like, I think Jericho's done the bit now a couple weeks in a row, now with how do you say, doing the New York minute, in front of the teleprompter and everything. Like, first off, he gets all the damn New York references wrong, taking the Staten Island ferry to the meatpacking district in the Bronx, and I'm like, none of that shit is wrong, but it's hilarious. I chuckle of it, but him having Brian Keith, on the side of him, and I don't know why. Like, even the small things that Brian Keith does with Jericho cracks me up all the time. I mean, like, and at least he's getting on TV, which is great and all. But I mean, listen, we've been hearing rumblings about a potential maybe TV deal with Ring of Honor in the works. So I mean, damn, how fitting would it be if Cardona's the one to take the title off of Jericho, and then boom, that transitions to that potential TV deal with Ring of Honor, getting more, getting more attention, more screen time. But yeah, man, I like for everything is with, and if anyone deserves like this shot, like this limelight, I mean, it's been Matt Cardona. I mean, who's been working what? He's been on the Indies for what, over 8 years now. He basically, I mean, he doesn't need to be signed to a WWE or AEW or a major promotion. Like he could keep doing what he could keep doing his thing on the indies. And what's funny is that that like that the IWC loves to drag, for just ridiculous reasons. Like, you look at the Young Bucks, they gave Cardona the map in the sense like to survive on the indies and thrive, like as far as merch, promotion, and just getting your name out there, any which way possible. That's what Cardona's done the past 8 years. I mean, so it just speaks in an indirect way on the Young Bucks' influence on the wrestling world. With you see what a guy like Cardona's done outside of the machine, like a WWE or an AEW, but he's still relevant in so many different circles in the IWC or Wrestle Talk in general. So I mean, win or lose, like Cardona is set up for success in the future, whether he signs with Ring of Honor or with AEW or not.
Definitely is. We got a comment from DJ Stone on TikTok. He says, "Hi guys," in my Chris Jericho voice, and he says, "Light skin, can you sneak me into first class?" He said,
I work for TSA, not the airport.
"Get it together, DJ Stone. You must be stoned right now."
Probably.
If they can only give me 10% off of flights, do you really think I could sneak you into first class? No.
I appreciate the shot, Joe DJ.
Shoot or
Yeah,
shoot at some point. Shoot or shoot.
shoot or shoot. Next up, though, MJF tries to come down and knock out Adam Cole, but it backfires. He catches a super kick. Adam Cole gets the roll up pin over Kyle O'Reilly. Now it's official. We are getting MJF versus Adam Cole at World's End. Gaijin, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is what we've been waiting for, Adam Cole versus MJF. Is it happening the way that we all predicted that it was going to be? Not necessarily, no. But at the end of the day, this is a match I think everybody wanted to see ever since All In. Not, I believe it was 2023 when they headlined that.
Mhm.
So, and it was a pretty decent match. Now we're getting both of these guys at 100%. They're not, being held back by injury and so forth. So, as far as I'm concerned, this is a match that does need to happen, but also you also have to keep in mind in the back of your head, Kyle O'Reilly wanted a piece of MJF, and now he has to wait to get his opportunity. And he has to wait and get his opportunity against a guy who he's not only been good friends with, but he's also went to war with in Kyle O'Reilly. Like, a lot of people need to understand the intensity of that rivalry between Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. These are two dudes who at first were brought in by the American Wolves, Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards. These guys were brought in to be the next generation for Ring of Honor, and that's what they were. They were the next generation for Ring of Honor, and then they became the next generation for pro wrestling, NXT, and now AEW. So basically keep that in the back of your heads. What is Kyle O'Reilly going to do? Is he going to be in the corner of his best friend, or is he waiting to stab his best friend in the back?
Interesting. Your thoughts on that, Vance?
I like Lightskin said, the Kyle O'Reilly Adam Cole story is a story that goes back so far through multiple promotions, and that's something I love that AEW at least does, where if they know there is a known storyline or a known rivalry, whatever it is, they will hint at it, they'll go back to it, they'll bring it up, they'll use it as a history set marker. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do with this version of Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole going forward, because yes, we were all waiting for MJF versus Adam Cole. I think this was the perfect time to do it, because if they did it at Full Gear, it might have been a little too early. And doing it at World's End feels like a good little ending point for it, because I mean, it kind of started at World's End last year with the reveal of Adam Cole being the devil in that whole devil storyline. I'm interested to seeing what Kyle O'Reilly does, how Kyle O'Reilly factors in on all of this. I personally believe it's going to be something along the lines of Adam Cole has a chance to beat MJF. He set up the Panama Sunrise, and he's going for his finisher or something along that line. Kyle O'Reilly walks down thinking Adam Cole is going to get help from Kyle O'Reilly or that support, and Kyle O'Reilly is going to stab Adam Cole in the back, and that's going to set up Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly in 2025, and we're going to see where that goes. But I mean, another match announced for World's End. I'm glad it's happening. I don't know if I needed it for the Dynamite ring, but hey, cool, whatever. But yeah, I'm cool with this. I'm very cool with this.
You got a message from somebody on TikTok, Apollo, saying, "I'm blocking Apollo. Don't disrespect my favorite wrestler, Chris Jericho." You still on
Look,
that?
man, if he's your favorite wrestler, he's your favorite wrestler. I can't say anything about it. I know some people that, Andre the Giant or Hulk Hogan is their favorite wrestler. I
Yeah.
get it. But at the same time, we all got to understand that guy is more of the shape of a melted ice cream than a Canadian athlete. So, and him holding a Ring of Honor title that is very prestigious, very very prestigious, is something that needs to be fixed in my mind immediately. But I mean, hey, different strokes for different folks.
Yep. Barbaro, your thoughts on MJF and this whole turmoil with Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole?
Is the match going to be great at World's End? More than likely, yes. It's Adam Cole and MJF. But listen, I'm not a good liar. I'm not a good pretender. You could read me as straight as a book. Like I'm showing my cards right now. Whatever the end game is of this feud, like it needs to be revealed at World's End. Because like what a fitting pay-per-view, because I'm sorry, man. I know they tried when Cole came back, trying to explain the whole thing, his whole sudden babyface turn when it was really him that turned on MJF, so it should kind of be the other way around. Um Listen, man, I've tried to be, a speaker of patience, let things play out, let's see where it goes. I am I'm at my ends I'm at my end with this, respectively, with this feud. Let's get to the match at Worlds, and whoever wins, honestly, between MJF and Adam Cole, I don't care at this point, because it's like, yeah, I mean, you could have Kyle O'Reilly maybe cost Adam Cole, and then we'll go to Cole and O'Reilly in 2025. But I mean, I don't know. I guess just look, I appreciate the effort, the try that they did to rejuvenate this storyline between MJF and Adam Cole, but it's just been in my opinion, it's just been a swing and a miss. In my opinion, like,
I get
yeah,
I
that's just me personally. I
no,
mean,
I get that. I do. And I'm on the same type of level, but I mean, I still like Adam Cole. I still like all the people
no,
involved.
I like all the people. I like all the people. Don't get me wrong. I love Cole, love MJF, love them all. But I'm talking specifically just this story, with the whole, oh, I turn on him before you turn on me, and this, and I'm like, I'm good, guys. Let's just
I think
get to World's End, end it, and I think respectively all parties need to go their separate ways, and I need MJF more live and on site for these dynamites and AEW shows
I
going
think
forward.
I think what it was that set a really bad detriment for this rivalry was Adam Cole's injury. Like if Adam Cole wasn't out for so long, this rivalry probably would have ended at Revolution or Wrestle Dynasty.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, injuries happen. This isn't ballet. So Adam Cole was out for an extended amount of time, and I think it's better for them to end it at World's End than just drop it all together. Like if they drop this whole story altogether and just be like, we don't care about this story, then people are going to ask like, hey, why did you just stop this story? Like some people are interested in this story. I will say that some people are interested, but if you set a bad precedent for just dropping a story if it's dead. I like that they're at least at least
Look,
dragging this dead horse to the finish line. At least
well,
they're
like I
doing
said,
that.
the pay per view is perfectly called World's End. At World's End, just ended already. I'm sorry. Like they tried, and I'm sorry. There's some hit, some miss. This is a miss, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, he got injured. It sucked, but I mean, it was the injury was too long. The duration was too long to try to come back to the storyline and like that's it. Let's just end it and go into 2025 with a clean slate for all parties involved.
Barbara, let me ask you, after this storyline is ended and they probably do go their separate ways, what do you think MJF is doing next? What would you want MJF to do next?
That's a good question, man. Listen,
Real good question.
he's just been out of the loop for so long. I mean, not his fault. He's been filming a couple movies the past couple months. So, I'm not sure. I mean, like he's not going to join Team AEW in their crusade against Moxley and the Death Riders or anything like that. Maybe he picks up his feud with Danny Garcia. I mean, in a sense, have him go after Garcia and his TNT title. I mean, remember, MJF has one over on Garcia, so if anyone has a right to or a shot for Garcia's title, it would be MJF. You could go back. You could go back to that. You could start up that feud again. I wouldn't mind that at all, and let Garcia win, get his win back, and that makes his title run that will make his title run more better, more prestigious, and it adds credibility to the belt and his title reign.
Definitely, definitely. Guys, and I got a question and a comment. I think I was wondering if you could answer it for me. Tony Hayes wants to know what happens when the Death Riders come across Riley, Cole, and Rowdy. Do you think Marina will beat up Rowdy?
It's an interesting question because as we all know, Marina Shafir is Roderick Strong's real life, wife.
Right.
Just imagine the conversations after Dynamite. Like, so how was how was your thing, Marina? Well, I mean, I choked out Jay White, so there's that.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, I guess you'd have to stay in character,
Hey.
I mean, it would be very interesting if they brought up like their real life relationship, and then all of a sudden, Marina's like, "Oh, come here, right?" And then all of a sudden puts him in mother's milk,
Right. But this goes
Choke
back.
him out.
This goes back to what Vance was saying earlier. Like, let's not let them go after everybody because you're gonna end up running into that problem if they just keep attacking everybody. They're gonna have to cross the undisputed kingdom.
Yep, exactly. So
Yep.
I just say let them do them for right now. Timing is everything in pro wrestling. We hear that.
I will say one group I would want to see the Death Riders just randomly attack is the Hurt Syndicate. I want to see them do that. I want to see them do
Yeah, that would be interesting.
that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, timing is everything. So the
Yeah.
timing has to be right. So
Yep, definitely. But somebody else who had good timing was Ricochet. Lately, earlier in the show, I should say, he was doing an interview with Renee and came off pretty heel-like. I do. If you all know who watched this show, I give Ricochet hell. But that little sarcasm and that what he did. I seen a little light of heel, and he played into it in this match as Ricochet defeats Brody King and in the Continental Classic, and now he is tied at the top of the Gold League with Claudio and Will Ospreay. Vance, your thoughts on Ricochet getting the dub over Brody King?
Well, first I want to say Ricochet is getting better doing promos and on the mic, and everyone said he couldn't do it. So there's that. He's getting better at doing that. Um, Brody King is another favorite of mine, like just another personal favorite of mine, and he's had two great performances in Continental Classics, and I hope 2025 is a big singles push for Brody King, but we'll see. But we'll see on all of that. But you know, doing this heel stuff from Ricochet, I actually do like because it sets up. Maybe he's still thinking about joining the Hurt Syndicate. Maybe he still has that in the back of his mind, and it might be to prove to either MVP and Lashley that I don't need y'all to be bad on my own, or maybe it's just like, hey, Shelton Benjamin lost and I'm not losing though, so MVP, look at your inner men and just reevaluate is all I'm saying. But it's good to see Ricochet get what 3 more points and be tied up with Osprey and Claudio.
Yep, at the top.
It's gonna set good semifinals and everything. So good match by all. I think Brody King should get some more wins though. Like I don't know who he's going against next, but I would really like him to get like 1 or 2 more wins.
Guys, and your thoughts?
So I'm sitting back watching the Ricochet Brody King match, and you can definitely tell that the crowd is shifting, and starting to basically jeer Ricochet a whole lot more. And Ricochet, you can see it at the end of the match. You're like, oh, really? This is how y'all gonna act? Okay. If you got to remember, it was the Hurt Syndicate that approached Ricochet looking for them to join the ranks. So I still believe the offer is still on the table. And Ricochet right now is starting to tap into that. You know what? Maybe I should join the Hurt Syndicate. Maybe I should sit up there and be alongside with Bobby and Shelton. It was basically something that was pitched a long time ago when they were in WWE doing the Hurt business, but it didn't go down that way. So maybe we get the Hurt Syndicate with Bobby, Shelton, MVP, and now Ricochet the way it was meant to be. And oh, how wonderful it would be if this group got over the way that we expected it to in WWE. Now, as far as Brody King, yeah, Brody King's one of my personal favorites too. I watched him a lot in PWG. Just all around. One thing I really appreciate is big guys who can wrestle. Guys who can move. Guys who just don't do like the 3 moves of doom, the choke slam, the big boot, and drop a leg. Brody King is a big dude who can move and can move with agility. So that's one of the reasons why Brody is one of my personal favorites. I think if anything, by the end of this tournament, Brody gets that nod, kind of like how Swerve did, where he had these outstanding performances and it ends up leading to something where he ends up winning a singles championship.
Definitely. Ball, bro, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, even earlier in the night before his match, you saw his backstage interview with Renee. So how do you say, like, remember, like, at the end, he did flash that card from the syndicate, so he is teasing maybe eventually joining them down the line. But I love how the match progressed between Ricochet and Brody. Like, towards the end, he's getting those negative reactions from the crowd. Like, it's been the, how do you say, it's like just it's a slow burn right now with
Yep.
Ricochet, where it's not happening all at once, but you see it in his mannerisms, you see it how he's carrying himself in interviews, and how he's carrying himself in his matches as well. I think in his match last week at Commander, he brought back the People's Moonsault. Like, that's like kind of a tweener heelish move that he used to do back in the day. But I mean, You had this spot in the match with Brody where he ripped off the turnbuckle pad, kind of dropped his head into it, and man, I'm not gonna lie, the that spirit gun finisher of his, like he hit it twice at the end on him, man. Listen, he gains enough speed, man. He gets some good impact on that move. So I like the fact that he's I want to say he's like reinventing himself in AEW. He's retooling. He's sharpening up just I mean, and like Apollo said, like he's getting better on the microphone, because I just think he's being himself, and maybe he is a cocky asshole in the background or at home or on the side. You never know. So maybe he's just he's comfortable in his skin, he's comfortable in his surroundings. So I like where things are going with Ricochet. And as far as Brody King, like Lightskin said, I hope like whatever the outcome for is for Brody at the end of this tournament. I just hope that it propels him to a good 2025, whether it's maybe not winning gold, but just maybe being a little bit higher on the pecking order in AEW going down the line next year.
I mean, Brody King is already starting off his 2025 pretty crazy because he is challenging Dave Finlay to the New Japan,
Yeah, I
formerly
seen that.
US heavyweight title belt, but now it's the international title belt. I can't.
It's the global championship. Yeah.
Goodness gracious, I hate that. But the global,
I hate the name too. They should have just brought back the Intercontinental title.
I don't know why, but yeah, the global championship for against Dave Finlay, and I'm very hyped for that match because Brody King deserves some type of title push or title challenge at this point. But yeah, no, as a big anime fan, Yu Yu Hakusho is my favorite anime. And
I was about to bring that up. Spirit Gun, proof black people watch anime too.
Oh my god, I can even show you right now. I have Yu Yu Hakusho on my sweatpants right now. If I can freaking, but like Yu Yu Hakusho is one of my favorite animes, and I'm just like, when Ricochet does that, I'm just like, oh man, I don't know if I'm supposed to hate you, but I love that. I love that it's Spirit Gun. I love that. I was like, it reminds you of Will Ospreay's Hidden Blade, but in a different variation. But hey, I mean, everything is copied in every single way at these days.
When I was watching Ricochet tonight, I thought about something. Just want to get you guys' opinion on it. He's starting to get a little heat. You could see him headed in that heel direction. He's got a presidential red button that I think that he could hit anytime he wants and get nuclear heat. When Samantha left, he got all the hell because they thought that it was because of her. If she ends up being his manager, like I made her quit, she needs to be by my side. Nuclear heat if she shows up in AEW.
I'll give you one better than manager. Let's say whatever his next pay-per-view match is, like whether it's World End or next, like not even a manager. Let's say, how do you say? Let's say he's the
Valet.
first one introduced. We got a special guest ring. We got a special guest.
I was
announcer.
gonna say
Personal.
I was
ring
gonna
Ooh.
if they pulled
ring announcer.
if
Like
they
how
pulled
Alberto Del Rio did
yeah.
when it was Ricardo announcing him. Have Samantha Irvin do that shit for Ricochet, and holy crap, you bet just sign on to Twitter and just watch all the damn Fedron's brains
Just imagine,
melt.
just imagine like Ricochet's in match with whoever. Ricochet's music comes up, and Justin Roberts starts to introduce Ricochet, and then Ricochet is just like, wait, Justin, I'm sorry, you're doing a terrible job. I got my own announcer. Can we let me get her out first and foremost? Samantha Irving. I want Samantha Irving with a giant smile, like a giant shit-eating smile on her face. Just replaying the music. Ricochet comes out. Samantha Irving is announcing her husband. Oh my god! And
That would be heat.
You gotta
Unknown to
you
man.
gotta save that if they ever do decide to do that. You gotta save that. Like, dude, I would save that for All In. Dude,
Yeah.
in Texas in front of 30, 40,000. You don't do that on a Dynamite. You don't do that on a Collision. You better save that for like, let's say like a Revolution, a
If
Double or
you
Nothing.
and
Like,
if they do save it, I want it to be a surprise. Don't hint at anything.
No.
no,
Don't hint at Ricochet being this cocky heel. Don't hint at Ricochet saying this guy is bad. This guy sucks at being an interviewer. Blah 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 blah.
No
Just
Tony Khan special announcement. Nothing.
right, right.
Right.
What
None of
if they
that.
did
Just
it?
do it.
What if they did it at Wrestle Dynasty? Because Ricochet's supposed to face Zack Sabre Jr. in Japan at
Mm,
the
That
Tokyo
see,
Dome.
I would love
that's worthy of it too.
that
Yeah.
is super worthy. I would love that, but I think being that it's not only an AEW and New Japan show, but it's also a Ring of Honor show, a Stardom show,
CMLL.
CMLL show. It's kind of just like, let's save that Samantha bomb for an AEW thing. Like
Yeah.
just like there's so many promotions involved with this. Let's save her for something AEW bit. I
Definitely.
would still love it though. I would still love it.
We will see. But now we get to the final match, the main event of AEW. Winter is coming, and Mariah May defeats Mina Shirakawa with Thunder Rosa watching close. And afterwards, we get the return of not Timeless, but the original OG Tony Storm as she stands on the ramp staring at Mariah May, clearly with regaining her women's world title in sight. Gaijin, your thoughts on the main event of Dynamite?
I loved the main event. As a Joshi fan, I loved the main event. Mariah May was just extraordinary in this match, as well as Mina Shirakawa. Of course, I had a feeling that we would eventually see Toni Storm. I thought we would see her as Timeless, but they threw in the swerve, bringing her back as the original version of Toni Storm. But I do remember tweeting out before the match ended, like, I know all signs are pointing towards a return and an eventual match between Mariah May and Toni Storm, not at World's End, but at Grand Slam in Australia. But there is one other person that I want to see Mariah defend the AEW world title against, or women's world title against. And that is another woman who she also created another relationship with when she was over in Japan. And that was Hanan. And if you guys are not familiar with Hanan, Hanan was somebody who Mariah got very close to during her time in Japan. She had her last match against Hanan. And ever since then, Hanan has been on this meteoric rise, so to speak. She won the Cinderella tournament. She just won the Goddess of Stardom Tag League with her Wing Gordy tag team partner in Saya Ida. She's slated to challenge for the Goddess of Stardom championships, much like Mariah May, a title that Mariah May has held when she was there. So I would definitely love to see Hanan versus Mariah May before we get to Toni Storm versus Mariah May. And like I said, if you've never seen Hanan, very young, very, very talented, somebody to keep an eye out for.
Definitely going to put her on my radar. Vance, your thoughts on the main event?
So, I mean, just like Light Skin Gouging, I absolutely loved this match. I loved that it was a Joshi-centered wrestling women's match. And I love that was the main event for not a pay-per-view of AEW's, but a big event for AEW. And people always like to say that the women's division in AEW isn't good, but I mean, you see stuff like this, and it's just like, you got to question, where are you getting the information that is not good? I think Mina Shirakawa is great. I don't know how much time she has left on Stardom in her contract, but when that contract comes up, I do hope AEW is in her future, but we'll see on that. But again, when I heard Toni Storm's original music, I'm not even going to lie, my jaw dropped, because I was just like, oh, they didn't even say anything about Timeless Toni Storm. They just said, hey, we're back to this now, guys. And I'm just like, that. I love that Toni Storm as much as I love Timeless Toni Storm. Like, I'm a Toni Storm stan, as people will say. And I do like the idea of Toni Storm versus Mariah May at Grand Slam Australia. And if you're going to do that, I would have Mariah May versus Hana at Wrestle Dynasty. I would save that for Wrestle Dynasty, and I would give either no, I would give Chris Statlander a chance at Mariah May because she did great against
Mercedes.
Mercedes at Full Gear, and that was a stellar match of hers. And I think Statlander could do the same type of magic with Mariah May at World's End. And honestly, even if she loses, it's still a good thing that it's still good that she gets that type of opportunity. I mean, I think that would be a good pipeline for Mariah May because I mean she didn't have a match at Full Gear, and she needs to have some type of title match by the end of the year, in my opinion. But with this winner is coming match, I thought it was great. I loved that it was the main event. I loved the swerve return at the end, and I thought it was a great way to end a show like this.
Where do we go with Thunder Rosa with? You see, she was ringside as well.
I see that, and that's my thing. I forgot about Thunder Rosa. Like and don't get me wrong, I love Thunder Rosa. I think she's fantastic. In and out of the ring, I think she's a fantastic representative for AEW. Don't get me wrong. I think you give Thunder Rosa a title shot on a Collision because they did that with Anna Jay. They did that with Anna Jay, and I think Thunder Rosa is becoming the women's Collision person in so many words or less. And I mean, it can be a random Collision, but I still think you get a good match out of Thunder Rosa and Mariah May. Maybe it's before Chris Statlander, maybe it's before Hana, or whatever. But if you can fit it in, fine, go do it. I mean, that's what I personally want to see. I think that's what I want to see. Yeah.
Shout out Ron T, the icon on Instagram. He says Tony is back. OG Tony versus Mariah is definitely the right choice for storylines. Ball bro, your thoughts on the main event?
I mean, match I think went about as I think how it was gonna go. I mean, it was hard hitting. It was great technical stuff. I mean, the figure four that Mina put on Mariah on the outside on the post. I mean, that was beautiful. That was awesome, man. Like I said, it was a great change of just a visual of the women main eventing the show. I mean, when we knew this was gonna be the main event, we knew that there was gonna be something, there was gonna be an angle that was gonna end the show with and like Apollo. When I heard Tony's original music, I popped. I was like, okay, like that kind of figures, she her timeless gimmick is up. Now she's going back to her roots. She's going, back to the OG Tony Storm, and I think that's gonna make for an even better match than the one they had at All In. I mean, it was good, it was okay, but now it's like she's not wrestling like in a gimmick anymore. She's wrestling as herself, which I think is gonna bring the best out of both Tony and Mariah. In February at the Grand Slam show. As far as Thunder Rosa, no, I think that's gonna be your filler match for World's End. I mean, because you kind of had her like for a week or two, kind of say that Mariah May isn't she's not a good representation as champion. Like, no, like I think that will be your one women's match probably for World's End because you got Mercedes next week defending against Anna Jay on TV. So I think they'll have Mariah May defending against Thunder Rosa at World's End. It'll be a good back and forth, which in which Mariah will obviously retain. But yeah, man, I think the build starts now. We got a good 2 month build for Tony and Mariah, and like I said, it's gonna start the year off great in women's wrestling in 2025. Like as far as like Statlander challenging right now, I don't want to put her in a spot with like a 2 week build with that you can't really get a lot going as of yet. I mean, we could that could wait till the next calendar year. But I think in the meantime, do Thunder Rosa versus Mariah. That will take you into next year, set you up for the big match between Mariah and Tony in Australia.
Can I ask? Can I ask, where would you fit in at least the two people in Jamie Hayter and
Mm.
Julia Hart in all of this? Because they deserve title shots as much as anybody else in that division does. And I think it would be a really great story if, say, Toni Storm was to win back her championship and Jamie Hayter was to come out and be like, I'm coming for you because you took me out all that time ago. So I'm just saying, I'm a bigger Jamie Hayter stan than I am a Toni Storm stan. So it's like, I want to see Jamie Hayter back in the title challenger role
There,
at some point.
there for both Jamie Hayter and Julia Hart, there is absolutely zero rush for either of them to get back in the title reign, and it's for different reasons. Number one, well, actually, kind of the same reason when you look at it. They're both coming off of injuries, so more so with Julia Hart. I mean, she's put out great vignettes of them of teasing her return. And right now, Jamie Hayter, I think, is gonna face Willow, I believe next week or the week after, to see who's gonna be in that Women's Cup final match at Wrestle
Yeah,
Dynasty. So
this is all very down the line for me. This is all
Yeah.
no, yeah,
very
it's very down the line, and I think how do you say with well, I talked to Abe, I think, about this before. Like, when we do get if we do get a feud between Jamie Hayter and Julia Hart, I don't like it from the standpoint that neither one should be taking a loss this early in their comebacks right now. Because if the plan is for you to push Jamie Hayter to the title scene next year, then she can't take an L from Julia, and vice versa. You want to push Julia to the title scene next year, like, then you don't want to have her taking, like, her first match coming back will be a loss on her record. So I think the long term plan is more getting Jamie Hayter back up to title contention after, let's say, Grand Slam in February next year. That's the time where you should start building to Jamie Hayter and Tony Storm. Maybe at whether it's Revolution or Dynasty, give that a good 2 3 month build right there, and maybe with the other title, maybe Julia Hart goes back after her TBS title, the title that she lost before she got hurt. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, this is, like you said, Apollo, like, way down the future for both of them.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to add on this, it pains me almost that Jamie Hayter right now is in AEW, and one of her good friends, somebody who she held the Goddess of Stardom titles with, in B Priestley, is in WWE right now, and WWE is basically not even. I think they may have forgotten that Blair Davenport is still there.
I mean, she's in the games. She's in the game.
She is in the game. She's been featured on television a couple times, but let's be honest. Does WWE really know what they have in Blair Davenport?
Not
I mean,
at all.
that's a whole different conversation. Hot take.
But
I don't know if WWE knows what they have in the women's division other than Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley.
exactly.
Right.
But call it fantasy booking, but let's just say Blair's contract ends up, going, reaching its end, and then somehow, some way, she ends up in AEW with Jamie Hayter.
Take
I would
my
love
money.
I would love to see them, either pick up where they left off, pre-pandemic, because those two were the Goddess of Stardom champions. They pretty much ran rump shot over every woman that came and crossed their path, or possibly starting up a rivalry and saying, hey, you left me, doing that whole stereotypical, BFFs that eventually turn and cut each other's throats.
The Jon Moxley, Eddie Kingston thing.
Yes.
All right. Before, let me just give a couple of shout outs real quick. Oh my God, I don't even know why I want to say this, but Vance and get light skin, y'all might not know I cover the Lions, and from time to time we get some trolls who come through here, and this guy want to say, "Let's go Buffalo Bills." because the Bills are playing the Lions. They gonna get
That's
destroyed.
tough,
Well,
man. That's snug.
let's chill on the Buffalo Bills right now, because can the Buffalo Bills score points? Yeah, absolutely. The Detroit Lions can score points too, but let's also, be realistic. The Buffalo Bills can't play defense.
No,
So
they can.
the Buffalo Bills, they do have a front runner for the MVP in Josh Allen. However, Josh Allen can only play one position. He can't play the other, 10 positions out on the field.
He scored 6 touchdowns and they lost.
Right.
That tells you how bad their defense sucks.
against a team that's not even going to make the playoffs. But
Hey, the Rams could actually shock some people, but I don't think there's enough room with the 17 playoff with the conference, especially with how loaded the NFC North is.
Definitely. Shay React says, hi, everyone. I don't watch AEW, but I wanted to say hi. We appreciate that. Hello.
How you doing, Shay?
Abe, I will say this, man. Like, of all the other teams in the NFL, like, your Lions are like the only team that you know what? I'm rooting for you guys because I feel in all of
A long time coming, brother.
In all of sports, like, I feel, you guys, I feel like your franchise needs that win. That city needs that win. Like, I mean, because I'm sorry, let's be honest. I mean, the Pistons are like, it's struggle for them. The Red Wings haven't made the playoffs in over.
Wait a minute now. I'm not gonna let you say all that. We are
I'm just
corner.
saying, I mean, like, bro, if a sports city needed a championship,
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I mean, like, but I mean, you know what? I'm a huge fan of Dan Campbell, man. Like, that's a dude.
My guy.
I would run through a wall.
I was a fan of him after that first press conference because I was just like, this man is definitely a player's coach, and he is. I feel like at some point he thought about getting in there at tight end at some point or whatever.
Yeah.
But I will say, as a Baltimore Ravens fan, I have this blood beef with Josh Allen because because I don't know what it's every single year they will put Josh Allen over Lamar Jackson for every single thing, and it's just like Lamar Jackson has 2 MVPs, and it's just like, well, he hasn't won a Super Bowl. Josh Allen hasn't even been to the Super Bowl yet, so I don't know where we're going with this.
Right.
But I hate Josh Allen because he will lose a game like he did against the Rams, and he's like, well, I mean, he is in the MVP, but Lamar Jackson does the same thing. Say Lamar Jackson has like a 5 touchdown night with two of them being rushing touchdowns, and they still like lose. It'll just be like, oh man, I don't know, the Ravens are gonna make the playoffs, and it's just like, we're 9-5. What do you mean? One loss isn't gonna ruin the season, but whatever.
Sammy on Twitch is telling me to keep your football on your football show. I'm here for wrestling. Okay, I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. We'll get back to the rest.
You'll be all right. You enjoy both.
Right. But Gaijin, how much did you enjoy AEW on a scale of 1 to 10? What are you giving tonight's show?
Yeah, I definitely give it a 9. It was a really good show. I loved that Mina and Mariah closed it out, and I loved the ending, especially, Thunder Rosa's, she's sitting up there holding the sign, "Not my champ," and as soon as Tony Storm's music hit, WTF, the whole Wile E. Coyote like gimmick where she's basically just holding up signs, just not even speaking. Really that was good. Great. Also, Ricochet and Brody King, that was a great match. I'm still gonna go back and catch some of the parts that I missed, coming home from work. But either way, I give it a solid 9.
Vance, 1 to 10, what you giving it?
From 1 to 10, I'm at like a cool 8.5 because I mean, Chris Jericho just bums me out. I'm sorry. like when I tell you I saw that Full Gear had no Chris Jericho Ring of Honor Championship match, I was just like, we're free. We're finally free of this. But yeah, everything I really enjoyed. There was no real low down moments other than maybe the Kyle O'Reilly Adam Cole match. But other than that, It was what you expect of a good Dynamite show and what you expect of a special presentation of a Dynamite show. And I'm excited for what they do next week, and I'm excited for how this all goes into World's End in the coming weeks. And I'm excited for more Continental Classic matches because those matches are always going to be good.
DJ Stone said, Vance, why did Chris Jericho have to catch that last minute stray?
I'm sorry, man. Like it's a mixture of a lot of different things, but it's just it's getting to Chris Jericho is the Steven Seagal of wrestling at this point. I'm
Right.
sorry.
You did sneak it in there last second, but bro, 1 to 10, what you giving it?
Real quick before I give my rating, just want to touch on Jericho real quick. Like, I don't know, maybe you guys saw this video on TikTok. Like, I forget who the creator was, but he says something like when I heard it, I was like so outlandish about Jericho. It was the dude said that Jericho wishes he had the Miz's career or something like that. And I was like,
What?
whoa,
That guy was
fuck-
born in 2000.
hold up.
Yeah.
Flop up, because listen, this isn't to diss the Miz. I like the Miz. Miz is good. He's very good. And I asked the following question respectively: what of the Miz's career would Chris Jericho want?
Bro, can I ask a question? Can I
Hold on,
just ask a question?
Hold on, real quick. Let me just say this real quick. Everyone will always bring up real quick how the Miz he brought relevancy back to the Intercontinental title. I'm like, my guy, when we were all in high school, that's what Jericho was doing. He is an 8-9 time Intercontinental champion. He was making that belt relevant while we were all in freaking grammar or high school. Okay.
Facts.
First off, and number two, yeah, the Miz is a great promo in his prime. Jericho. Miz could not touch Jericho in his prime. There is not one. I'm sorry. Name the Miz promo that can stand up to Jericho's 1002 holds list promo. I'll
Right.
wait on that. And let's talk about this content creator said that the Miz is so versatile. Versatile at what? Miz can only get over as a heel. He's never got over as a. He's not believable as a face. That's fine. Some people can only get over as one or another. Jericho, for whatever you like him now or not, is basically recency bias, because if Jericho retired 3 years ago, he would be on so many people's GOAT or Mount Rushmore lists. They probably still should consider him that high up. I mean, what has Jericho gotten over in the past decade? He got over a damn list. He got over a damn TV screen. Remember the Jeritron 8000 on Monday Night Raw? He has gotten over like inanimate objects after inanimate objects, like
Potted plants.
respectively.
Potted plants. Yes, I was
Potted
just thinking
plants.
that.
Potted plant. You got over a potted fucking plant. And I'm sorry, but the freaking the buddy, the friendship between him and Kevin Owens in 2016, that was my favorite part of WWE program at that point. Like, I love that dynamic.
I mean, his friendship with AJ Styles, people forget about it, but that got over. That was
I remember it was the Raw before Survivor Series. You had Raw, Team SmackDown. You had Jericho putting everyone on the list. He put AJ on the list. He said, "Oh, and AJ, your super soccer style mom's haircut. I don't like it. It's going on the list." And then
He said the list. He did the list. So, speaking of the list, this is crazy. Ron T on Instagram. We got Sammy on Twitch, and right here, Shay on Reacts. They all said the same thing. Apollo, you just made the list.
that's completely fine.
We got some Jericho lovers out here.
Hey, if you love Jericho, I'm not gonna get in your way of loving Jericho, but at the same time, we all have to be real with ourselves. And
It's time to end it.
and put Lassie down at one point.
At one point, I agree with you 100%, man. But look like Bra Bros froze up. But I appreciate you brothers coming on, man. And we do this almost every day here at the Holy Shhh Podcast. And I would love to have both of y'all on sometime just to pick y'all brains and see what individually y'all about if y'all ever free, man.
Hey, just let us know.
Yeah.
Just anything you want to plug, Light Skin?
Just follow me on all my socials. Right now, I am in the process of working on my latest episode of Welcome to the Gaijin Temple on YouTube. You can follow me at the Light Skin Gaijin. Recent events, I haven't been able to do any recordings and stuff like that. And Paulo, you know pretty much what I've been going through. But yeah, I got to get back on my content creation, and I'm looking to put out a new episode. And I'm also putting together a top 10 list of overall WWE World Champions of all time. So nice. I got to broaden my wrestling, not just to Joshi, but to other things as well. Got to bring in, you got to bring in the casuals.
Casuals. I was just about to say that.
You got to book The Rock somehow for WrestleMania. So this is my way of booking The Rock for WrestleMania.
Great idea, sir. Vance, anything you want to plug, brother?
Lord. Yeah, on TikTok, Apollo-san. If you're into anime, I do almost everything anime. I'm a cosplayer. I cosplay. I'm getting new cosplay. I'm not getting new cosplays, but I'm doing cosplays all the time. I'm setting up cosplays. I talk about anime on that channel all the time. Yeah, on Twitch, Vance Apollo. I was playing Marvel Rivals, and I'll be playing that more and more. But yeah, just follow me on there if you want to follow along to what I'm doing. I'm trying to get a anime WWE type of video set up, but that's going to take more than a lot of research. But yeah, just follow me on TikTok and Twitch and all those other places. And yeah, that's it.
Appreciate both of y'all coming on. This will be hopefully the first of many. But next time you will see us all will be this Friday. Post-show, SmackDown, the whole crew will be here. Myself, Ron T, the Icon, Chuck Jordan, Coach DTM, and Meeks Mayhem, who brings the mayhem. But until then, on behalf of Light Skin Gaijin and Vance Apollo, it's your boy ABE from DET. And you guys have been tuned in to the Holy Shhh Podcast. I can't cuss no more because they done flagged us, so we got to keep it clean. But peace.
That's insane.